What's cool about the weaving of the fabric of the life of TMA is to see all of those individual threads coming together at the right time to build out, the beautiful entity that is TMA today.
Central Florida was packed with denominationally oriented church schools, and it was apparent that there was a hole in the community for a larger vision of a community Christian school that included multi-denominations. I woke up one night, this sounds weird, and God just said the name of the school should be The Masters Academy. And I told that to my wife, and my wife, her eyes just lit up and said, "Pat, we need to do this."
It's kind of like starting from nothing. One of the things that we did, we went to Orange County school surplus, and we'd pick out teacher desk, and we'd pick out student desk, and could buy them for $1. And so we were real scavengers trying to get everything complete for that first day of school. And we did. It worked. God was good.
First word that comes to my mind concerning the early years was the pioneering spirit. Parents were willing to go above and beyond. The first day at the middle and high school campus, we were in a church building at Aloma Baptist Church that was not designed for school classrooms. Crowded hallways, crowded classrooms everywhere we went. And so we wound up with about 7 portables.
When I would talk with teachers or higher, I would say the first thing you want to do is talk about Jesus. And if you get that right with the kids, you're not going to have some of the behavior problems, because if you're working with their heart, then your mind is going to be better. Theirs is going to be more open to learning if you start where you need to start.
We were always looking for opportunities to get into the community. And our cheerleaders at that time were selling donuts. They knocked on somebody's door to see if they wanted to buy donuts, and that person happened to be connected to the Orlando Magic, which was not quite in existence, but it was ready to be revealed. And so they invited our cheerleaders to be a part of the revealing of the new Orlando Magic logo. We knew early on that we would outgrow the facilities, at both sites, Prairie Lake Baptist and Aloma Baptist. And so the board was heavily involved in trying to find the property that God was going to use for our permanent location.
The board was meeting in the nice part of the log cabin building in Maitland, and I asked the board to start meeting in the most deteriorated portable building that we had, so that we could always be reminded of what our students had to deal with when they came to school. After looking at a lot of parcels, we got a tip about this stretch of property right on 417 that was owned primarily by the Jacobson family. And that strip of property there was part of an old celery farm right along 417. And we got a tip that some of the members of the family might be willing to sell that property. So I and a couple of folks from the school went over and met with George and Olga Jacobson in Olga's living room. George Jacobson says to me, "So I want to make sure I understand this correctly. Your school teaches kids that Jesus Christ is our Savior. He is the only way to salvation. He's the only way to heaven. And you're teaching your kids that go to that school that." And I said, "Yes, sir, we are every day." He says, "Well, then I think we can work something out." And that was the first watershed moment of what became, what is the TMA campus today.
So what was exciting was that the middle school property, which had been gifted to us several years earlier, provided that $1.3 million that we needed to purchase the current site. And that was just God's hand.
God blessed us with this piece of property, and now we're actually here. And it was a slow process of buildings in stages, of the first building and then the second building and the third building.
The good was being over there with the older kids who could mentor younger students.
Walking around the campus, I could just envision what it could be. And so I wanted to be a part of God's plan. And so I knew for a fact that that's where I was supposed to go.
Back in '91, we were at Fern Park Baptist Church, and we just had a little basketball court and a field in the back. And just seeing God's faithfulness providing this campus, people love our facilities, and I remembered when we didn't have it. So God has always been good. He's just blessed us through the years.
When I had bad days, my wife would remind me to go and eat with the kids at lunch, because it would put me back on focus as to why I was doing what I was doing. It's for the kids.
See, it's a lot different than church. Church is once a week for an hour. We have kids 5 days a week for 7-8 hours. So the impact by Christian teachers walking the talk is immeasurable.
I hope that comes across, that the spiritual aspect of what we were doing, whatever our contribution was, there were so many people contributing to this. That to me is the most significant.
We were so small when we started, and to see how we've grown. But the biggest thing when you have parents come in and we have interviews, they always compliment and say it's a family because we're a community.
One of the greatest rewards is watching alumni come back. And I can think of so many success stories and students just living what God's purpose is for their life.
In fact, it's our goal to see students that come to personal faith, not their parents or grandparents, but their faith, grow in that faith while they're here, and then leave here on purpose to live out that faith. And when we see evidence of that in their lives, it is so affirming, and it just really spurs us on that we want to see greater numbers of kids have that experience.
God continues to pour out His favor on this place because we seek Him with our whole heart. And that was shown to us by Ray and Pat Meningay, by Jim and Shirley Cashin, by Paul West, by all these people, and we just stand on their shoulders today.
The only thing that's going to matter 100 years from now for you, for me, for everybody involved in the Masters Academy is whether they have a relationship with Jesus Christ as their Savior. And that's what's really important.